My dear sisters and brothers in Jesus Christ, this gospel passage tells about the duty of a believer. What is the duty of a believer? A believer is to be in a state of readiness. He is always to be prepared, always watching and waiting for Lord's return, because Lord's return is an absolute certainty. Then Peter asked, Lord, this parable is for the disciples only or for the people as well? Then Jesus spoke a parable called Parable of Manager. Jesus spoke about two types of managers. One is faithful and wise manager, and second is unfaithful and imprudent manager. In the case of faithful and wise manager, the manager was entrusted with his property, with his servants, and this faithful manager was found doing, that means serving his people of God. Second, he was to be rewarded when he was found faithful at the time of the return of Lord. And God speaks about the unfaithful servant. Jesus spoke three things about unfaithful servant. One, the unfaithful manager said there is plenty of time. Verse 45. But if that servant says to himself, my master is delayed in coming. Here we have to note that he knew that the master will come. Master will come, but he is not sure of the time. And he thought that there is sufficient time to do master's will. And second, instead of doing master's will, he did his own will. He began to beat the men servants and the maid servants, to eat and drink and get drunk. Instead of doing God's will, instead of doing master's will, he did his own will. And three, Lord says, he will be punished. He will be punished severely because he was well aware of master's will. Jesus spoke about two types of punishment. One is severe punishment and another is punishment lightly. If a manager is well aware of God's will and doing his own will instead of doing master's will, he will be punished severely. If a manager is unaware of master's will and doing his own will, he will be punished, but not severely, but lightly. My dear sisters and brothers, we are called by our Lord Jesus Christ to his vineyard by baptism. We are well aware of our master's will. Let us examine ourselves. Are we doing our master's will, or are we doing our own will? God says, you are doing your own will instead of doing master's will, you will be punished severely. Let us examine ourselves. Let us ask God's grace to do God's will in our life. God bless you all.